Okay, and we're recording. Definitely ask the questions, but you don't have to guide me. Can you go deeper in? Can you can just ask the question, what are you being aware of now? And that way I don't apply a resistance to going somewhere, because sometimes you're asking a question that's different from where I'm going. And I apply a resistance and it creates a big gap. And if I'm not deep enough, if I'm deep enough, yeah, I can just make the shift kind of easy. I don't apply a resistance. But when I'm first going in, until I get to the point where I'm in there real deep, I'll put on brakes if I'm going somewhere and you're going in another direction. So if instead, for a while, you ask the question, what are you being aware of now? What are you finding of interest here? And things like this, that will open it out to the place that it will, and we're not going two different directions. Again, at a certain point, when I'm deep enough, you can pretty much go wherever, and there's almost no me left to put on brakes, and I very easily just go wherever you're going. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just report that. All right, let me go back in.
So just
Oh,
back into where we were.
I'm going to start over. I'm not going to go where I just was. I'm just going to go in again and we'll see what happens. Okay. Just remember to unmute the microphone when you're ready to ask a question. And yes, don't leave me sitting in the pauses for too long. 10, 12 seconds. Okay. Yeah. And the sonar is back. This time, superimposed into that concentric sonar-like system is a pinwheel of energy spinning clockwise.
What are you able to describe?
There is an upside down and right side up world superimposing upon the same plane. And I'm not very close yet because they're still presenting in caricature-like forms. They are bears.
Are you getting multiple beings being superimposed?
Specifically, there is one female being in the upside down world. She is pushing a stroller. A child is in the stroller. In the right side up world, she is pushing a grocery shopping cart. Filled with foods.
Are they still bear-like beings?
Yes, she is a bear.
What is her environment like?
Civilized, commercial, not dissimilar to our own.
Can you have a communication with her?
I can. I am more interested in the geometries at the moment that are constructing the superimposition of the upside down and right side up planes.
Is this a world of a reflection, right side up, upside down?
I would have to look. Again, I am more interested at the moment in the geometries that are forming this superimposition. I'm going to go into them now. These symbols I am seeing are associated with symbols received this morning in a meditation session. They have been coming to me somewhat steadily for the past weeks. They are associated with a certain race of extraterrestrial consciousness. They are coming to me in direct response to the question of the galactic races. I am associating with and how extensive my experience with these races, specifically on board crafts, are. One of these symbols is a spiral. The spiral goes 6 layers out and ends with a tail or point at the angle of approximately 1 o'clock. Another of these symbols is a cone or a conical shape. Above the conical shape is a sphere. This would look somewhat like an ice cream cone with the circle of ice cream somewhat above that of the cone, which is upward facing. Another of these symbols is a right triangle. A right angle, not triangle.
Do they have a craft in near the Earth sphere?
This craft is near to my own awareness, to my specific consciousness. I am not detecting this craft at the moment near our local space.
Do you have awareness of what kind of craft they used? Shapes or
I am aware of the interior portion of the craft in which I now am. It is a dark metallic shade, somewhat like pewter. There are round protrusions in a circular formation, approximately 4.5 feet up from the floor. There are panels of glyphs of various symbols lining the walls. I am more aware of the particular spatial relationship I have with the craft. On the vertical axis, going up, as opposed to that horizontally, as in width.
It'd be a long craft.
The portion that I am in most awareness of at the moment would bring it into a rocket-like shape. But again, this is only a portion. Of the
Do you
whole.
recognize?
Do I recognize what?
Do you recognize the glyphs or symbols? Are these familiar?
The symbols I have stated, I am familiar with. Are you asking if I am familiar with the language?
Yes, if you've seen the glyphs or understand its language, would you know it?
I have been shown these symbols repeatedly these past weeks and months. I am seeing them in this format from the interior of this craft since this morning. I am not yet seeing them in their entirety. I am able to perceive that I am being shown. I am beginning to bring some awareness into the occupants of this craft. The concepts are not yet forming into a species consciously known to me. At present, the closest concept would be that of a crab.
Can you make a connection with them now coming through? Are they trying to show you anything else?
Yes, at present, my attention is still being directed up just up. Gonna come out, James?
Sure. What is your awareness now?
I can't get out.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. State is being held.
Did he still want you to go up? Can you go up?
There is more that could come through this channel. So the channel is being held open.
So more beings can come through this channel.
The energy present is the energy holding the state. This has happened before. You might try putting down your line of questions, finding a new start point. Or the flow from your end.
Can we get a sense of this energy? Can it be described?
It can be described as a friend.
This friend like to show you more?
This energy is present for the purpose of the channel and not for the purpose of the out-of-body state I myself am moving into. This energy is facing you and is here for your questions.
My curiosities were about myself. Would this be okay to ask?
Ask what is most foremost in your energy, what is foremost on your mind.
My curiosity was for my own galactic self, my own counterpart, and if I could get a description.
I am moved to a star system known to you. This is the Sirius star system. I am moved to not a planet. I am moved to a large moon in the Sirius star system with connections, direct connections to that of the Pleiades. There is a triangulation. One moment. I am following the lines with an area, not a planet, not a moon, not a sun, not a star, with an area of the Orion system. Orion, Pleiades, with an origin point of this large moon in the Sirian system. This is for a very particular type of triangle. I am searching for the correct term. I will draw it for you instead. The point where my fingers meet are the moon and the Sirius system. The Pleiades is here. The Orion star system here. Connecting the points will give you the shape, the concept of this specific type of triangle. There is a being, there is a species of being beginning to come through. There is a particular species of being working to help connect. This galactic counterpart, as you say, this is the Yael. So these ones, this energy is often coming through to help make connections through me. Let me see if I can get beyond their energy to the one they are assisting through. Mm. More of the connecting energy is needed. This requires you putting forward your energy. Putting forward your energy is an opening for a question from your end.
Are you getting a form of my being, a particular species that you're familiar with?
Although I personally am not familiar with the species, I can relay that it is a combination of that which is part feline, of that which is part lupine, what is this? And that which is this is not quite the right concept, but close enough to it, is reptile. It is not quite accurate, not quite specific enough. Iguana would be more specific. Does this help?
Yes, I got a feeling of iguana when I pushed this myself. That's exactly what came. So I'm a blend of two species, feline and iguana.
3 species of being have been relayed, that of the feline, that of the lupine, that of the iguana.
I'm unfamiliar with the lupine. I've never heard that. Can you describe that?
Lupine, wolf, the dog races are inherent to the Syrian system. This genome is more specifically lupine than canine. Feline is the dominant genome, the dominant symbol represented in the physical construct. Shall I try to get a better view?
Yes, that would be interesting.
First, there is a concept coming through. It is a concept associate with a name. It is not the name of this being. It is more an energy associate with its energy, with its desire to connect with you. Herald, as in bringer.
Can you confirm the names of Harold?
Herald, not the name. A herald is someone who brings. Hark, the herald angels sing. The comers, the bringers, is the concept being relayed to you. I am seeing the individual beings, the feline being, the lupine being, the iguana being separate in and of themselves. I am struggling to see their union as the one galactic consciousness reaching out to you. Question.
What in my end can I do to make this connections myself smoother?
What are you asking for?
For my galactic self to be in my awareness.
A symbol, a concept, a name to connect with? What are you asking for? Which would be more apt to help you make the connection?
I can start with a name, that would be the simplest for me to focus on.
One moment. I am not able to connect with the name in full. You may ask again at another time. You may ask again in another way. You may ask for another probable point of connection.
What would be its symbol?
Are you familiar with the swastika as its original intent?
Somewhat. I know it was very good energy, but I would have to study more. But I'm aware that this is a good, peace, loving symbol, energetic symbol.
Peace loving is exact to the meaning of this symbol for you.
Is this being is what described as angelic beings, bringers of light, bringers of love.
Is a physical being in physical space. It is currently in the process of graduating from the high fourth dimension into the fifth.
So, is this being still type 2, although graduating out of understanding love?
One moment. This being is at what you might call the upper scale of type 1 consciousness.
What purpose has it for me here to learn from?
This consciousness is or serves the purpose of being a counterbalance to that of the experience of and as yourself in third dimensional space.
Do I have a particular purpose here?
It is a, or what you might consider a weight that allows you to go off in more of what you might conceive of as a negative direction, only so far. It allows the seed consciousness, the soul consciousness, to explore those terrains through and as you, only so far.
Is it as curious as I am about the darker elements, but not to the point of being consumed by it?
It is what it is. You are the experience that you are, and there is delight amongst the total construct in all experience, all activity, all energy of the exploration. Yes.
I think I've done enough to understand this darker elements. I would now like to pursue going back to love based. I would like this to happen now.
This is the attraction on your part to this additional part of yourself. Yes.
Yes, I would like to explore the upper parts now. But in saying so, how can I assist those still stuck in this darker polarity?
First, assist yourself. First, expand yourself in this is the assistance to all others, how you will physically play with the energy, how you will specifically assist those drawn into the energy will arise as this occurs. Is there understanding how the one affects the other?
I'm trying to make that connection with it now.
You first must expand. You first must create the energy, the experience for which the others to be drawn into.
I was stuck because I was slightly confused about what I was. Confused about the energies sometimes that I feel. Wasn't quite sure.
An ability to cognize, an ability to discern energies arising directly from within yourself, from energies arising directly from within others, which you have had an inclination to attach yourself to will come about as you yourself begin the process of the expansion of energy, the expansion of experience, the that sentence just stopped. Is there understanding?
Yes, that's much more clarity for me.
Which comes first? First, you must be the expanded experience. First, you must be the expanded energy. First, you must be that which you are offering to extend to the others. Is there understanding? Which comes first?
Love.
The expansion.
Mm.
If you are not first, that which you wish to extend, how can it be?
I'm still drawn into the negative parts in a lot of ways, trying to let go, trying to let go. I'm curious also about one of my sons, Gage in particular. We seem to have a particular connection. Is he of the same?
Name.
Gage. His name's Gage.
One moment. And your question is?
Are we from the same grouping, the same species?
And this one's origin, it would not be said that rather than continue that sentence, please ask your question in the same format as that which you asked your own. That asked was that of the galactic counterpart most closely associated with your being.
Then what would be the galactic counterpart most associated with my son Gage?
One moment. To answer this question in detail requires this one's permissions. This one's permissions are absent from this relay. what I am able to see are certain connecting points that are only so strong. The majority of this one comes directly from the lineage of what you would conceptualize as the female family of dragons.
Do you mind if I ask about my other son, for there being twins?
The same energy and rules do apply in that ours is an energy that works with and within the idea of free will. In order to go into the template of another requires this other's permissions. Do you understand this idea?
Yes, I understand fully. I'll let that one. I'll let that go. That line of questioning go. I understand.
I may view it from a certain distance, but cannot go directly inside to see with a level of clarity, depth, dimension, accuracy, as is possible with the permissions. Permission to enter is a priority to entering anyone's energetic field.
Then I'll let them go. I'll let that go for now. Would there be a last message from my own galactic self directly for me?
I will translate. Reach in is the principal message. The expansion for you is an expansion from the navel center to the heart center, focusing on this center, vivifying this center. Engaging this center in your activity will deepen your connection with this being and the work you have agreed upon for the time frame, for this specific time in the time frame. You have a particular inclination into certain other centers which will not be named, because focus is being directed, energy is being directed from these centers, which are experiencing an overabundance of your energy, to the new location.
So
Share as you would with another who is with less than yourself, with your other centers. If you would be so inclined, describe which centers you would share from and which centers you would share to.
I would like to share more heart center, for this is where I'm blocked most.
First, the energy has to be shared with that center. From which centers will you draw? From which centers where there is now an overabundance of energy?
My forehead or third eye has the most energy, so transfer that.
Equal to this center is another. Identify the other.
The navel center.
So you will draw from these centers, these energy banks, with others of your centers which have less. If you are so inclined, share these centers which have less.
I would say root and solar plexus. I feel I'm lacking most.
You have identified the strongest centers, the two centers you have activated and engaged the most, these centers being the sixth center and third center, this is accurate. To which centers will you direct some of this energy?
Direct it to my navel.
There is an abundance here at present already, directing to where the energy already is. Will not invoke a change, will not bring a balance. Which energies are requiring, which centers are requiring the energy?
4, heart center.
Indeed, which center is in the most need?
Hmm. Yeah, it's the fourth one.
So you know from where to draw, and you know to where to send to help invoke the balance. Once the balance is in place, the energy is activated by directing it out into what you see as your physical world in the form of action, in the form of activity. For instance, speaking from the energy now in the heart space to another. For instance, engaging in activity with your sons from the energy and experience now present in the heart center. This list is much longer, but I will leave you with these two suggestions, these two examples. Question.
I've got a lot to think about there. Do you have any particular advice for humanity at the moment to progress forward? Words of wisdom.
We are disconnecting.
So I lost my thought there for a second.
Well, I could tell where you lost interest and where the energy started dwindling, where the connection was getting more and more vague. That's interesting how that happens.
Yeah, my mind was getting so swamped. I just tried to get something in because my mind was swamped with trying to figure, trying to put all that. That's a lot of information in one. That's a lot of information in one go. What's really funny about the lions, the wolf, and the iguana is that I've been terrified of wolves since I was a boy. So it's quite. I found it really amusing when she said the wolves and that. I was laughing, but I've got a connection with that. But I've also had nightmares about them at the same time. Quite
Mhm.
funny. And when I describe things to people, I always use lions to describe the bids and the way I would be sometimes. It was so funny to hear that come true. And iguana was exactly when I started going to that species and the species. It was an iguana that came to my mind. The iguana that came in, not the image, just the word iguana. I mean that. Then they said that was like, wow, that's quite accurate. It's amazing how much you actually know. It's amazing how much is in your mind.
Specifically, a quite white iguana also.
Interesting.
Uh,
Yeah.
I'm surprised you, I know that there's a lot on your mind as a questioner, but I'm surprised you didn't go into more of the appearances because I was telling you, see them all individually. I just couldn't see them collectively as the one being. So I was really surprised that you didn't ask me to describe them individually, the individual
Yeah, I feel.
consciousnesses that were, you know,
I thought you were describing just elements as one being, but you couldn't describe the being as it was. I didn't think to describe to ask individually. I didn't think of that.
the lupine fellow. I could see Iguana very clearly. I just, I could see for like in instant, and then they separated again. Um, the combination as the galactic being, itself. Um, yeah, it was interesting looking. I wanted to see it more. If you would have taken me more into their individuality components, I might have expanded out into being able to see him more clearly, or actually
I didn't think of that.
more female than. Yeah. Mhm.
Uh, I noticed you're quite interested in shapes. I was trying to go to that world uh, upside down and right side up. I was trying to get some kind of idea of what that was, but you kept
That
going to this geometric pattern. But I was
that
struggling
happened.
to ask you specifically what to describe there.
That's happened to me
Um,
before. Sometimes I see it just as a plane, and this would be like taking your gaze into, say, even the horizon during a sunset or a body of water, where what you see above the plane is being mirrored in the plane. Yeah, and it's not what's happening
uh,
that's so important. It's that trajectory through the plane, right through the horizon.
right,
And so
right.
instead of writing into the activity that's happening there, which is sometimes helpful and most of the time not. Instead, just ask, what are you being most aware of? And if that's what I'm being most aware of, I will relay that to or, most.
Okay.
But if you ask that when I'm actually going out into another field, I have to let go of that other field and come back. And now we've just regressed rather than progress.
Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
So,
okay.
and
I
then
mean, this is a learning curve for me half the time, you know.
brought me back.
James.
So try to remember this because this is important. I know that the out of body experience is sort of my jumping off point into the channeling, and but don't get distracted in that. The point of doing this is
Mm,
not about where I am going out of body as this is happening. The point is getting to the channel.
mm,
Yeah. So um, yeah, so sort of asking, it's interesting reporting from the out of body state, and people have told me that that's almost what they're most interested in because for some reason people are not all interested in channeling. Um, If you focus too much on the environments, I never get to the channel. I'm just reporting from the body state where I am at the channel. Yeah.
So you want to bypass all the kind of planets and crafts and beings and just go straight into a pure channel. So, and just is that what you're kind of aiming to get to?
My interest is
No,
going to the channel. Yeah. And this
just to go straight in.
practice session is about channeling. And so it's not about
Uh-huh.
the experience. And so don't focus on where I'm going out. We want to get to the channel. Okay.
Mhm.
And uh,
Right.
and so if you're asking a lot about where I am, that's all wherever it is.
Uh-huh.
And I can do that wherever. I can go into environment after environment, look around.
Yeah, being after being after being. Yeah.
But that's not
I
the
get you.
that's not the point of what we're doing here. Not in this one. I'm
So
more
we're looking to.
that group, from reporting from the out of body state, but that's not what we're doing here in this one. Yeah.
So I'm noticing into a craft, then into the being, then into the channel. You went to the craft first, but it was through the craft that you got the connection to your channel. It's
Right.
interesting where you went in
Just
there.
keep asking what I'm being most aware of. I'm going to be
Mhm.
telling you the most relevant information to reaching the channel.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But
And
if you
then try
keep
and guide
asking
it through.
about a specific environment, you may take me, all over the,
Ah,
we never
I get you.
channel. But if you keep asking what I'm being most aware of, if you keep asking what I'm finding interesting here, if you keep asking what
Uh,
is getting my attention, you know, then we'll get to the point of the channel. Because at a certain point, just going to vacate.
uh,
Yeah. And I'm not
yeah.
vacate into
Okay.
a specific environment. I'm just going to go where I'm going without reporting that on the channel. Will come through.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay.
So next time
So
we,
trying to find the fastest route to your channel state. That's probably what you achieve most. Is the fastest
this
way
is
to.
all about going to the channel. Yeah.
Uh,
Channeling. And I have to sort of the launching off pad for me is the capacity to shift consciously out. So I can start with that, but don't focus on what I where I am or what
the
focus
shift.
on what I'm most being aware of. Focus what I'm most finding myself being interested in. And that's I will go out and the channel will come in.